Hi, I'm Jazz. I am the founder and head mistress of Mystic Priestess School. In this school, I bring together women who are creative, spiritual seekers, healers, and teachers, and they're ready to revolutionize the way that we live life and that we do business so that we can reconnect to something that's very ancient, the ancient wisdom that lies within each one of us, and we can reactivate that and live a life that is more magical, that feels like it has more flow. And I invite you to join me in Mystic Priestess School. But for today, I have a story for you that I will be reading. It's a story that I wrote for you, and it's going to tell you about a girl and the moon and her own magic and how that changes her life. So make yourself comfortable and listen to this story. Once upon a time was a young girl living in a magical world. Within her, she held a gold and silver key that helped her open doors to other magic worlds. Every day, she traveled and visited her friends in these worlds. She got news from the river rocks, ancient beings who have seen life flow for thousands of years. The rocks told her about what was really important and what left a lasting impression and what must just flow by like water in the river. In another world, she listened to the trees who taught her the wisdom of the seasons and knowing when it's time to plant a seed, when it's time to grow and transform, and when it's time to let go and shed what is no longer necessary, when to rest patiently and meditate on one's life lessons. She especially loved to visit the magical world where animals could talk. She practiced moving her ears like the cat, or moving her nose like a rabbit, jumping like the frog, and panting like the dog. They played together for hours, rolling in the grass, howling at the moon, jumping, running, twirling, 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 and sharing ordinary secrets of extraordinary desires. Her friends told her about the moon. They told the young girl that the moon's magic, her magic queendom, held many stories and fairy tales. The cat said that she could hear the moon whisper stories when the night was dark, and it talked of old women gathering in the forest for rituals. Frog told her that he can hear the moon when she is young and just peeping an eye open after her sleep. Frog assured her that the moon queen was all giggles and laughter, with just a bit of mischiefry. Crow said, but when the queen moon shows her full face, some say it's a blessing and others a curse. The truth is, she is neither, and she is both. She is as you perceive her to be, for she will not argue your point of view. Crow was always so enigmatic. How could that even make sense? Dog barked and said, I like the moon when she has a big bite taken out of her. That's my bite of the pie. She's like an old dog. She doesn't get all that excited so easily. She's learned her tricks, and she chooses if she will play or not. The power of choice, that's important magic, you know. The young girl laughed, thinking of the dog eating a bite of the moon. She wondered if her key would open the gate to this magic world, but she wasn't in a hurry. She was having so much fun with her friends, the animals, the trees, the rocks. What would she do in a world with old ladies and mischievous queens? Her friends knew that one day she would travel there, but her time had not come yet. Moons and seasons passed, and the young girl was growing. She became more and more preoccupied with her own world and the people in it. She visited her friends in the other magic worlds less and less often, mostly because the people around her told her it wasn't right. They told her that those worlds, they did not exist. They told her cats could not talk, that rocks were stupid, that trees were nothing. They didn't notice the moon shining night and day, always changing and calling to her mystery. It's like the moon didn't even exist to them. How could they not see the same thing that she saw with her own eyes? The girl became confused. Then she became afraid of being different from everyone in her world. She didn't giggle as often as she used to. She felt sad and lonely. She felt she wasn't worthy of love and companionship because she was so different. One day, she hid the key to her magic world, and then her friends became invisible to her. She started to believe what everyone else was saying around her, that the only path to happiness is to be serious, to work hard, to get a real job, to make real money, to get a real house, have a real family. She did all these things as best she could, and as a result, she had a real depression. You see, depression is when the soul is unhappy, and when the soul is not happy, it becomes heavy and pressed down. It goes down towards the earth, wishing to return to the freedom of the river and the rocks and the birds and the wind. When the soul is unhappy, it stops to dance, and instead it reaches for a heavy lid, like a shield of protection. But the soul is mistaken. This shield does not protect. The truth is, this heavy shield limits movement. It limits joy. It limits the ability to create. It limits the ability to return to a natural state of magic. The girl, who was now a woman, carried around such a heavy shield with her everywhere she went. She carried it for so long that she forgot what life felt like without it. Once in a while, in her dreams, she could see or hear her old friends from the magic worlds. But then she said to herself, "It's only a dream. It's not true. None of it is true. That is only her imagination. And having a wild imagination is not a good thing." She's been told that so often that she was believing that. She did the best to follow the rules of her own world. She did her best to not stick out. She did her best to meet the goals that other people set for her. She did her best, and yet the better she became at fitting in, the worse she felt. The heavier the shield. She could feel herself becoming angry on the inside, became miserable, like a cranky old woman. She didn't like that, but she had been like this for so long, she didn't remember that there was another way. Until one day, out of nowhere, there was a frog in her kitchen. She thought her dog had made a mess on the floor, but when she went to pick it up, the mess jumped. Then she jumped and she screamed because she was startled. And then she laughed. She couldn't help but giggle at the jumping mess on the floor. That day, she felt a little bit lighter. The next week, she could hear a tapping at her window. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. She was wondering who would tap on her bedroom window, which is on the second floor. When she finally looked outside, there was a crow. She could swear the crow winked at her before flying away. She followed the flight of the crow up in the sky over the moon, and she noticed that the moon was full. Oh, how beautiful, she thought. Things look just so magical under the light of the moon. I wonder what else is out there playing in the night. And her imagination took root once again in her mind and in her dreams. That night, the shield became lighter still. The following week, this woman was so tired from all the dreams that she's been having at night that she decided to go to bed early. But her dog had none of it. The dog had a different plan, and she barked and would not settle down, would jump on the bed and off the bed and on the bed again. Okay, that's it, the woman thought. It's no use. We better go for a walk. So together, her and her dog went out in the crisp night air, and when they got to the bottom of the hill, where the street opened up and you could see the river, the dog stopped in her tracks, laid down on the grass, and would no longer move. The woman tried pulling the dog. Come on, let's walk, let's continue. Come on. The dog had none of it, just sat down on the grass, sniffed the air, and became quiet. So with a sigh, the woman decided, well, might as well take a break. So she looked up in the sky, and there was the moon with a big bite taken out of it. Is this what you wanted to show me? She asked the dog. Thank you, puppy girl. This is beautiful. And it is a beautiful night. I'm glad I'm out here. So she decided to sit next to her dog and be still, gazing softly at the nature under the light of the moon, vaguely remembering something from her past. They sat together like this for a while. Tears were shed as the woman finally felt safe to release some old emotions that she had kept to herself for so long. She whispered her secret desires to her dog, who sat and listened patiently. On the way back home, she felt a lightness to her step. The shield was almost gone. But the adventures didn't stop there. Who showed up on her porch the very next week? A big black cat. The cat purred and meowed and did pirouettes and wanted attention, and so she gave him food and water and attention. What a funny cat, thought the woman. Later that evening, she found some tuna in her cupboard and went out on the porch to feed the cat. The night was so dark. Things felt so still and mysterious. She called for the cat, but couldn't see it anywhere until it was a reflection and she saw the big green eyes out of the darkness. She put down the dish of tuna for the cat and wondered what other adventures the cat had had that day. How did it come to be on her doorstep? And then she made to turn around and go back in the house, but she felt like a gentle wind around her. And it was like a gentle tickle. So she stopped for a moment, and then she heard, "My daughter, you are ready. You're invited in the hall of the Moon Queen. Your key will show you the way." Hello? The woman said out loud to the cat and the wind, but there was no one around. Did I really hear this? She thought. It's probably just my imagination again. What an odd message. I wonder what it means. Probably nothing. Just my imagination again. So she went back in the house, but you and I know that this was not just her imagination, right? This was her soul speaking to her. Her soul who was feeling free without that heavy shield. Her soul who could once again hear her friends in the magic world. Her soul who had learnt lessons from humankind and was now ready to reconnect with magic and to share her wisdom with others who have a key just like hers but have it hid deep, deep inside their memories. That night, the woman dreamt that she was traveling alone in darkness. She wasn't sure where she was going, but she kept moving forward anyway, as if there was a mysterious force guiding her. She came upon a castle. It was white, round, and it shimmered gently under the stars. She made her way to the doors. What a beautiful set of doors these were, all gold and silver, forged with some interesting, very intricate details. The designs reminded her of something, but she didn't quite know what it was. She was looking for a doorbell because she wanted to come in, or maybe there was a handle, maybe there was a way to open the door, but there was nothing, just flat doors. She was just about to give up when then she felt something inside of her. It started like a warm feeling inside her belly. And then this warmth moved up her body. And then with her breath, it kind of blossomed up. And then she remembered she did not need a doorbell or a doorknob. She had the key. So she touched her heart. And this activated the key. The doors opened easily and effortlessly. So the woman walked in with a smile and with a sense of awe and wonder at all the beautiful things that she could see, and her sense of curiosity and adventure came rushing back in. She took a few steps in and she found an old desk. It had like droplets of ink on it. It was like really, really old, as if it had been used by scribes for thousands of years preparing some manuscripts. So she looked through the papers that was on the desk. She saw a map of the castle, and she saw a detailed blueprint, and this blueprint had her name on it. How could this be? "My daughter, we were expecting you. Welcome," she heard. "What? Who's there?" she said, startled. She turned around, and in front of her was a beautiful, majestic woman. She had her silver hair half down and half up in a messy bun. She wore leggings and, why not, some sparkle shoes. Her tunic seemed to be made out of stardust. Was she young or was she old? It was really hard to tell. "My daughter, don't you recognize me? I am Luna, the queen of this castle." "What? Did you expect to see me wearing one of those old gowns? We're not in the Middle Ages anymore, daughter. Get on with the times." Luna giggled, and it sounded like chimes in the wind, light and playful. The woman took an in-breath. She just realized that she had stopped breathing for a while. She closed her mouth and felt just a little bit ashamed and awkward of meeting this Queen Luna and not even acting royalish about it. Queen Luna smiled and said, "Don't worry, my daughter. I'm not that big on protocol anyway. Besides, we've known each other for quite a while, even if you don't remember me. You see right here on your blueprint? It's written there in the stars that we've met for many, many lifetimes. The stars remember all the times when you stood in circle under the stars, under the moon, with other women, singing, drumming, sharing stories, sharing your hopes, your fears. The stars remember. And it's even written here in your blueprint." And "I remember now," said the woman. And with a jolt, she woke up from her dream. Things seemed really fuzzy at first, but she remembered. She remembered that she is magic. She remembered that there is this wisdom inside of her. She remembered that she has a soul purpose that is greater than anything that she had created in her life so far. She remembered how she used to speak to the rocks and the trees and the animals. And the more she remembered, the more her soul felt joy. And the more she wanted to remember and learn and do. So she put everything she could in motion that helped her remember her special soul mission. She took a ton of spiritual classes. She changed what she ate, the books that she read, the people she spent time with. She tried to copy what her yoga teacher was doing, what her spiritual coach was saying, what the authors wrote in this book and that book. And she shared all the spiritual memes on social media. And her quest was all consuming, and she was trying to do it all at once. Then a great fatigue came over her. She was so tired. She felt like she had not enough energy to keep moving forward on this path. She started to doubt her visions. And she noticed that she had been so busy trying to be spiritual and wise that she was not actually listening to the wisdom of her soul. She had been caught in the mirage of learning. She had been mesmerized by the reflection of the moon on water. She realized that she was mirroring others And she was still caught in the same pattern of fitting in. It's just that now she was trying to fit in with a different crowd. She was still not being her true self, and this made her feel sad and frightened again. "Well, who am I then?" she asked out loud, gazing at the moon one night. "I'm not like this, and I'm not like that, and I'm doing so much, and I'm feeling so tired. I thought all this spiritual work would be light, but I'm exhausted. Now what?" Silence greeted her questions, and yet her questions were heard. That night, the woman dreamt of that white castle once more, but this time she remembered where she was and how to use her key. She went to the desk to see if the blueprint was still there, and she waited for Queen Luna. "Oh, there you are, daughter," said Queen Luna as she entered the room in her fuzzy pajamas and slippers. "How many moons has it been since you visited me last? You left in such a hurry last time." "Oh, I'm sorry, Luna," said the woman. "I just felt I had this pressing mission and that I had to do it all at once. It felt so important. Wasn't this what you wanted of me? I just feel so overwhelmed and I feel so stressed." "What I wanted of you, daughter? No, not at all. What I wish for you, what I invite you to do is simply to be you. You get to choose the what and the how and the when. You have free will. You are magic. And there's all the time in the world. Yes, daughter, the world does need your magic. But you don't have to force it, and you don't have to rush it. As a matter of fact, it's best if you take your time and enjoy the journey. Didn't you realize that enlightenment is not an end state? It's a state of being. There's quite a difference, you know, between the two. Here, take a closer look at the map of this castle. Do you see the 12 rooms arranged around the courtyard? Each room represents one key area of your life. How you show up in the world, how you feel, your relationships with your family. And here in the 6th room, you can learn about your best daily routine. There's something for you to learn in every room. But you can't be in all the rooms at once. So take my lead and enjoy one room per month. That way, when the year is up, you've worked your way around the castle and each area of your life. Doesn't that feel more enjoyable and freeing? Doesn't this make your quest more simple and less overwhelming? With a yawn, the woman woke up from her dream, pondering the revelation. She had tried so hard to cram everything in her transformation path. She had tried so many techniques and methods and meditation. All the while, she realized she still carried the weight that she wasn't good enough, that she didn't know enough, that she wasn't perfect enough for her soul's mission. And she also realized that her soul's mission is simply to be herself and to let others be themselves. "Holy crap," she said. "Enough with this. I am good enough. I am magical enough. I am ready enough. I am strong enough and knowledgeable enough. From now on, I do me. And I'm following Luna's wisdom and take my sweet time enjoying my life in the process. One room at a time, right, Luna?" And the woman turned in bed and went back to sleep. That morning she slept in and didn't even feel guilty about it. Then she took her time to savor her coffee. Then she gently stretched her body and said, "I wonder what room I'll be exploring today." How about you? Are you ready to make life more peaceful and enjoyable? Are you ready to reconnect with your magic in a way that feels nourishing and satisfying and based on self-love rather than a belief that you're not there yet? Are you ready to follow the wisdom of Luna and the wisdom of thousands of women who have stood under the same moon. Luna guides us every month through a cycle of discovery, curiosity, release, and wisdom through integration. As she moves through each sign of the zodiac and each house of your natal chart, she influences your level of energy while pulling you to look deeper in one area of your life or another. When you work with her, you know which day that you might have more energy or what day that you'd better book some more alone time. You can easily pick up the theme of the month and organize your spiritual work, organize your business in a way that feels really good for you. Luna can also help you organize your home and organize your chores. She takes you wherever you are on your path, from a bubbly beginner or an avid learner or a wizened crone. There's space and time for everyone because Luna is a very wise queen and she is here to serve and guide you if you allow her to. In Mystic Priestess School, we work with the Living with the Moon system, and this nurtures really profound transformations in our health, our mindset, our emotions, the way we do business. It's about our daily success habits so that we can have a better quality of life and we become empowered by creating the life, the business, the community, the family life that we really desire, and that's based on our own unique soul blueprint. The wisdom of the stars that we've come here to embody. So when we live by the simple and practical guidelines of the system, you can experience more flow, more joy, more harmony, balance, confidence in your life. How would it feel like to set goals for yourself and your business, to meet them, to exceed them in a way that feels just really nurturing, that's not forcing life anymore, but that follows your own natural rhythm? If you're interested, again, in joining the conversations and discovering more, follow the link below and join us in Mystic Priestess School.